Okay. So if you could just tell me your name and your association with synthetic biology.
So you asked me for my name and my association with synthetic biology. I'm Kate Spohr, and I'm the Education Outreach Manager for the Synthetic Biology Engineering Research Center. Much to my amazement, I didn't think I would grow up to be this, but here I am.
And what was that path to getting to synthetic biology?
Actually, you know, I studied film in college and, you know, got a graduate. I went to the documentary film program at Stanford. So I made films for a lot of years, and out of that I decided that what I really liked to do was not make films, but to, I actually then ran a film festival for a few years and created a film market, and then I discovered what I was really good at was writing grants and managing programs. And this was an educational film festival, so I started running programs in the schools, actually programs around critical thinking and writing skills development in children. And I did that for a lot of years, and until the festival that I was working for stopped being funded by, well, it was a bad period for funding for arts, and our big funding was from the National Endowment for the Humanities, and we lost that funding. Well, lots of people lost it. They didn't particularly not like us, but they just stopped funding us. And so I sort of thrashed around for something else to do, and at that point I was actually hired at the University of California, which used to have a film distribution enterprise out of Extension, and I ran that for a while. So we distributed documentary films to schools and colleges all around the country, to libraries and schools and colleges all around the country. And my job was to find the films and videos and acquire them. So we acquired the exclusive educational rights, and then to find people to sell them to. And so I developed all the catalogs and program materials and video jackets and all that. So I was kind of not making the films, but interfacing with filmmakers from around the world who were bringing us these films. And then that closed down for lack of funding. Extension went into free fall. This isn't something you want to get on tape, but anyway, and so I stopped doing that and then looked around for a place to park myself at the university, and found several places and eventually ended up doing this. But before that did mostly grant writing kinds of, and program development kinds of things. And this seemed like a real stretch for me because I had never been in the sciences. I'm very much a humanities person, and I thought it was really intriguing, but a real stretch, and I wasn't sure it would be a good fit for me at all because I wasn't sure how engaged in the science I could really get. And I still struggle with that. I still would like to be, I mean, I think it's a good fit in the sense that I'm progressively more interested in what I do and the implications of what I do. But I guess, I think I will always struggle in this job with my lack of a scientific background. And I think it's a little bit like living as a foreigner in another country and never quite being a native. I'll never feel like a native in this arena. And that's too bad, because I think I could have more, it would be even more interesting if I had that level of knowledge, if I could relate on another whole level plane with the people who are doing the science that I work with, who are all great and who I admire vastly, but can't really speak to in certain terms.
Mm-hmm. I guess coming off of that, so good. Well, I guess I'll just go on to, so how would you define synthetic biology then? Your working definition of it.
Can I not answer that?
Yeah.
I mean, so many people have answered it for you, and I think much better than I can. And I struggle with that all the time. And I don't think that from where I sit that, well, okay, let me tell you. In terms of education and how synthetic biology, how we're defining a new field of study and a new way of teaching within that field of study. And the National Science Foundation wants us to be much further ahead than we are and have much clearer definitions about things, about, for example, about what would constitute a synthetic biology curriculum. And we have to push back and say, you know, in fact, we don't know what that is. I learned from people like Natalie Koldell, in particular, who are so interested in, and Natalie Koldell is an instructor in the bioengineering department at MIT, and a person who is really, really interested in how you teach, and in particular, how you teach synthetic biology, since it's not really clear what it is we're teaching, what works and what doesn't work, but also it's not really the old methods of teaching. This field offers us a new opportunity to teach in new ways. And I think, as Natalie is always fond of saying, you know, one of the things about synthetic biology is you learn by doing. And so it's a very, the idea is to be very, very experiential and very hands-on, and to engage students in the discovery of the field as it's going. You know, Jay makes the analogy of building the cathedral, and how we won't be here when the cathedral is made, but that the students who are coming after, you know, may see the cathedral made. And it's this enterprise of science, and within science where there's discovery in any field, but in this field trying to figure out whether the path we're on at all it will bear any fruit, you know, will really be a discipline in 10 years, or will be incorporated into other disciplines, I guess. So what synthetic biology means to me is an interesting path of both learning, being in the hard sciences for the first time in my life, but also being in a field that is largely undefined. And that's very interesting and exciting. And I should go back to school, I realize. And I get interested, you know, I'm always in school, but it really shows you that on a daily basis, how much there is to yet discover.
What do you think the importance of synthetic biology is as a field?
What do I think the importance of synthetic biology is as a field? Well, I'm going to also answer that as an educator and educational program developer, which is, I think the importance is kind of illustrated in our international genetically engineered machine competition, the IGEM competition. It's not ours, but we're very engaged in it. In that it really offers us new models of doing research and of teaching, and in a couple of ways. First of all, it combines engineering and science. So it's, you know, you're working in two very different models, but you're putting them together, and you're throwing students together from those disciplines, and trying to generate a new kind of energy. And that's very interesting. I mean, there's people within SynBerk even that will say, oh, you know, synthetic biology isn't really science. You know, it's not hypothesis driven. You know, it's just a matter of, you know, trying one thing and throwing it out, and trying another and throwing it out. But it's not really driven by hypothesis, where you clearly define what it is you're trying to prove or disprove, and then go about doing that.